Historical Reconstruction of Aryan X.
Episode 82, King Tang of the Tang Dynasty, and its Fall. The hero of the Tang Dynasty who overthrew the tyrant Zhao, the last king of the imperial state Ha Dynasty, and seized the emperor's fortress, was King Tang. 1. King Tang of the imperial state Tang Dynasty in Chinese history and Dangun of Korean history. The reason Dangun, the primordial emperor of the era of Geumseong separation of religion and politics in 2333 BC, appearing in Korean history, uses the character gun, meaning subject or minister, is because the 18th Buddha of the same era was called Danung. Dangun, the primordial emperor of Geumseong separation of religion and politics, meant that he was a subject of the Buddha Danung. That is why the Hwangje, emperor, the head of politics who controlled the world in Chinese history, was called Chenza, son of heaven, meaning the son of the Buddha, who is Chenwang, heavenly king. All the emperors appearing in Chinese history were in fact Dangun, the Chenza, and son of the Buddha. Now let us examine King Tang, the hero who founded the imperial state Tang Dynasty. Quoting Wikipedia regarding King Tang of the Tang Dynasty in Chinese history, Tang, circa 1600 BC, is the founder of the Tang Dynasty who exiled Zhao, the last king of the Ha Dynasty, thereby destroying the Ha Dynasty. Zhao, the last king of the Ha Dynasty, governed tyrannically, causing the public sentiment to drift away from Ha. Tang, a subject of Ha, assisted by the famous minister Yi Yun, attacked and destroyed the Emperor Zhao. In the Book of Documents, Sogyong, there is a chapter called Tang So, Oath of Tang, which is considered to be the speech he gave to the feudal lords when destroying Zhao. King Tang is also Tangun. Tangun is Dangun. Dangun is the king of the Bright Land. In ancient language, the pronunciation Dangun is more accurate than Dangun. The Dang of Dangun and the Tang of Tangun of King Tang, who founded the Tang Dynasty, are pronunciations representing God or the Sky Lord in the same Scythian language. Now let us look at the names Mutang and Mudang, which have been manipulated into meaning shaman. These words were used to mean God or the Sky Lord, or they meant the agent of God and the Sky Lord. The name of King Tang appearing in the Oracle Bone script, Dong Dai Ul, is even more interesting. The word big for the character Dai seems to be a trace of the ancient Scythian word Han, meaning great or big. Even today we use Han to mean big in words like Han Gawi, Han Harvest Festival, Han Demuk, big season, or Han Gong, Han River. Naturally, Dong Dai Il is the Edo-style notation for the Dong sky. Here, Dong equals sky, heaven, used as a tautology. The Dong and Tang of King Tang, the founder of the Tang Dynasty, were used to mean sky. There is another interesting example regarding this Dong, the Dongjip, shrine. It literally means the house of Dong, the house of God, of the divine Buddha, of the Buddha heaven, of the Sky Lord. In the era of Zhejiang Ilchi, unity of religion and politics, and Zhejiang Banli, separation of religion and politics of ancient Buddhism, the Buddha was the agent of the Sky Lord, and in secular terms, he was a person who received inga, authorization, for having achieved the bright enlightenment of Chon-in Habil, unity of heaven and man, and Shin-in Habil, unity of God and man. Such a person had to reside not in an ordinary house, but in a Dongjip, that is, the house of the Sky Lord. Therefore, the emperors who received the authorization of the Buddha, in the place of the principal Buddha statue where the Buddha resides, built a Dongka inside the palace to exercise the authority of the Sky Lord, or the Buddha who is the agent of the Sky Lord. Now I finally understand what the term Bongson means. It means that the person who achieved Sen, Zen, authorized the feudal lords on behalf of the Sky Lord and the world, granting them their fiefs and authority. If you read Hanja as phonetic symbols of the ancient Scythian Korean language, many secrets will be revealed. The Tang of King Tang, who founded the Tang Dynasty, meant the sky. The roof style suspended from the ceiling above the Buddha statue is called Dang-ga. Dang means the sky, and it is also a symbol of the authority of the agent of the Sky Lord. The tiled house structure suspended from the ceiling above the emperor's throne in the Geumseong Hall of Gyeongbokgung Palace is Dang-ga. This Dang-ga existed only above the Buddha's hall and the emperor's throne. The Dang of the Dang-ga, which is the house of the Sky Lord, and the Tang of King Tang, who founded the Tang Dynasty, have the same meaning. They both signify the sky. 2. Traces of King Tang in Korean geography. Although King Tang, who founded the Tang Dynasty, is currently placed in the history of China and excluded from Korean history due to historical manipulation, the names of King Tang, the founder of the Tang Dynasty, remain intact in Korean geography. The loopholes of historical manipulation are beginning to be exposed. 1. Tangjong. In Korean geography, the place name of Anyang is called Tangjong. Tangjong means precisely the well of King Tang, who founded the imperial state Tang Dynasty. 2. Geumseong Tang-chi. Let me quote the description of Han Sangbu, the emperor's fortress, from Korean geography. In a poem by Park Ui-jung, it is said that the dori, way or reason, is upright and even, and ships and carts, jomon, pass through. Since the Gongsan rivers and mountains are blocked in layers, it is superior to Geumseong Tang-chi. The Geumseong Tang-chi appearing in the description of Han Sangbu, the emperor's fortress, means that the fortress located in the Geum land is Geumseong, and Tang-chi refers to the pond of King Tang, who founded the Tang Dynasty. This Geumseong was indeed the emperor's fortress. The pond of King Tang, Tang-chi, existed in the place where the imperial state Tang Dynasty of Chinese history was located. However, in the previous episode, I said that Seoul, the ancestor of the feudal state Tang Dynasty in Chinese history, is Park Hyok-gosa, who founded Silla in Korean history. It was said that the Geumseong Tang-chi appearing in Korean geography refers to the pond of King Tang, who founded the imperial state Tang Dynasty in Chinese history. However, the stage of Park Hyok-gosa, who founded Silla in Korean history, is also called Geumseong, of Geumseong Tang-chi, which is identically the stage of King Tang, of the founder of the Tang Dynasty. I will reveal that secret.
Free. Geumseong. Kim Song, the stage for Park Hyok-gase of Silla in Korean history, and King Tang, the founder of the Tang Dynasty in Chinese history. In the previous episode, I mentioned that when the Ha Dynasty was founded around 2300 BC, Seoul, the progenitor of the Tang Dynasty, also received a fief and became a feudal state, and this progenitor Seoul is none other than Park Hyok-gase, who founded Silla in Korean history. This is because the Sang land in Chinese history, which Seoul received as a fief, is precisely Gyeongju of Silla in Korean history. I stated that this place was where the Buddha and the great papal court were located. Now let us verify if Geumseong, Kim Song of Geumseong Tangji, the stage of King Tang of the Tang Dynasty, existed within the stage of Park Hyok-gase, the founder of Silla. Quoting the Daum Encyclopedia. In Korean history books regarding Park Hyok-gase, according to Samguk Yusa and Samguk Sagi, the village chief of Gopohe, Sobolgong, discovered a large egg in the forest next to Najong Well at the foot of Mount Yangsan of Gyeongju. A child came out of the egg, and he raised this child. When he turned 13, the chiefs of the 6 villages made him king because his birth was Shin-i, divine and wondrous. The country's name was called Sorabol, and upon his enthronement he took Alyong as his queen. It is said that Alyong was a dragon girl born from the left rib of a cock dragon, Geryong, that appeared by the Alyongjong well in Saryang village. After ascending to the throne, he toured the 6 districts with the queen, encouraging agriculture and silkworming, and designated Geumseong, Kimseong, as the capital and built a fortress. The hero Pak Hyok-gose in Korean history also had Geumseong, Kimseong, the emperor's fortress, as the same emperor's fortress as King Tang, the founder of the Tang dynasty. In other words, Chinese history and Korean history have always been the same history, overlapping like doppelgangers. 4. The capital of the imperial state Tang and In dynasties. The imperial state In dynasty is a nation of the same bloodline that succeeded the Tang dynasty. In the basic annals of Un, within the basic annals of Shiji, it states, during the time of Emperor Pan Geng, circa 1300 BC, the In dynasty, which succeeded the Tang dynasty, had already established its capital north of the Yellow River. However, Pan Geng crossed to the south of the Yellow River and attempted to reside again in the old capital of King Tang, Bok. Since they had moved the capital 5 times and had no fixed abode, he went to the south of the Yellow River, reorganized Bok, and implemented the politics that were practiced in the era of King Tang, after which the people regained peace. The In dynasty is not a country that defeated the Tang dynasty, but a country that succeeded it. Since the people of Tang re-established their base in the region of In and ruled the world, it became the In dynasty. It is said that it became the In dynasty when Emperor Pan Geng established the capital at the place King Tang of the Tang dynasty had originally made his capital. This means the capital where King Tang was emperor and the location of the imperial state In dynasty were identical. Let us then find the place where the imperial state In dynasty existed in Korean geography. In Korean geography, the place name of Unsan is called Unju. The place name of Unsan is Unju, and this is where the imperial state In dynasty existed. Isn't it truly amazing? How can all the place names of Chinese history, which is currently called the history of China, be found in Korean geography? The 24 histories of China are entirely the history of Korea. 5. The rule of the emperor, the Chanja, son of heaven. Chinese history is very simple. There is nothing difficult about it. Have confidence. Those who occupy the emperor's fortress, Guknaesong or Hansong, located in the deep mountains of Gwanchung, Hanyang, and Chang'an, which were pioneered by the Buddha Chi Wu when he moved the capital due to the rebellion of the Emperor Henwan, Xuanyan, who held the Huangju land of Hanyang and Chang'an, where the emperor's fortress of the Zhejiang Il-Chi era was located, fulfill the first condition to become the emperor, the Chonja, son of heaven. All dynasties in the 24 histories of China occupy this emperor's fortress, Geumseong, Kimseong, or Hansong. And most dynasties, namely the Ha, Sang, Ju, Jin, and Han dynasties, rule from this emperor's fortress. However, after seizing the emperor's fortress and becoming emperor, whether to set the capital at that emperor's fortress or somewhere else is a matter of choice. In other words, as long as one could control the emperor's fortress, one remained the emperor even if the capital was established elsewhere. I quote the description of Han Songbu, the emperor's fortress, in Korean geography again. In a poem by Pak Uijong, it is said, "The Dori, way reason, is upright and even, and ships and carts, Jo-man, pass through. Since the Gangsan, rivers and mountains, are blocked in layers, it is superior to Geumseong, Kimseong, Tangji, Metal Fortress and Tang Pool." In a poem by Quan Wu, it is said, Mount Huac soars high and presses down the Hangang, the stronghold of Geumseong, Kim Sung, Chon Fu, metal fortress and heavenly treasury, is unsurpassed. In a poem by a former person, it is said, it is a region of eternities, like a tiger sitting and a dragon coiling. It has the pattern of a pheasant, and the 9-story palaces look as if a bird is flying. As quoted in the poems above, Geumseong, Kim Sung, where the pond of King Tang, the founder of the imperial state Sang dynasty, was located, was the emperor's fortress, and it is said that the 9-story palaces of the dynasties were located here. The emperor's fortress of Chinese history existed where the palaces of Korean history were located. Now you will begin to realize little by little that Chinese history is the history of the Korean people. In the next episode, I will reveal the Zhou dynasty, the country of the descendants of Dangun Wangyom, the primordial emperor of Jaejongbunli, separation of religion and politics. Please refer to the attached blog for details regarding the YouTube video release schedule and titles, as well as the title and table of contents of the prepared book. https://blog.naver.com/GokimGarcia